All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Beat Music Studio. My name is David McKenzie, and we're going to do lesson 6 today on our beginner guitar series. The song we're doing today is called The House of the Rising Sun. It's a classic, it's like a traditional American folk song. I think it originated in New Orleans, but some people say the melody was traced back to England. But basically, it's like a New Orleans gambling house song. It's just a cautionary tale about how badly things can go if you don't live your life well, and it's just a really good American folk tune. So let's jump right into it. All right, so on the 5th fret of the low E string, you have an A note, and that's the root note. I'm just going to play this scale for you, and then I'll teach it to you. So. And the melody sort of happens within that scale. So what happens there is the 5th fret of the low E string is an A note, and you just use your first finger on your left hand, and then you go to the 7th fret of the low E with your 3rd finger for the next note, which is B. And then pinky plays the 8th fret, and then first finger goes to the 5th fret of the A string, and then your 3rd finger goes to the 7th fret of the A string, which is an E note, incidentally, and then your pinky goes to the 8th fret, so it's the same thing as the first string there, and then your first finger goes to the 5th fret again, and your pinky goes to the 7th fret here. The reason is so that your hand can pivot back, so that your index can reach now to the 4th fret of the G string. Then your second finger comes down on the 5th fret of the G string, and then your pinky goes to the 7th, and then your index finger pivots back to the 5th fret of the B string, and then your second finger comes down on the 6th fret of the B string, and then your pinky goes to the 8th fret, and then your index finger plays the last note, which is A again, on the first string, on the 5th fret. Now backwards would be 5th fret on the first string, A, right? And then pinky plays the 8th fret. And then second finger plays the 6th fret on the B string. And your first finger will play the 5th. Now your pinky is going to reach up to the 7th fret on the G string. Your second finger will play the 5th fret. Your first finger will play the 4th. Now your pinky will reach up for the 7th on the D string. Now your first finger is going to pivot, is going to sort of reach up to the 5th fret on the D string. And your pinky will reach to the 8th fret on the A string. Third finger to the 7th. First finger to the 5th. Pinky to the 8th. Third finger to the 7th. And then index finger. So you can sort of play that scale. Sort of work that out with the metronome, just really get into that scale and try to build, a lot of dexterity and play with your fingertips and play with really, really good tone and really commit to these scales. The reason I throw one at the beginning of every one of these lessons is just because you just can't do it without the scales. Actually, you can probably just learn how to strum and play chords, but it won't be as good. It's really nice to start to unlock melodies on the guitar, acoustic or electric. So the melody to The House of the Rising Sun is played within that scale. So I'm going to play it for you, and then we'll break it down. That's the melody to the tune, and that will go over this chord progression, which I'll just play for you before I break it down. All right, so it goes. that's the basic chord progression of the song. There's lots of different ways that you can play that chord progression, but it's a really good one. The way that I'm actually going to teach it today is I'm going to teach you how to finger pick the chord progression and just really clearly play over every chord note. And the reason I'm teaching this version of it is I just think it's a really good way to make sure that your chords are all ringing really clearly. So, which is just such a big and important step in playing great guitar music, is just making sure that your chords are not impeded with any buzzes, or where you're not sort of unwanted, muting other strings that you actually want to ring. All right, so the song is in 6/8 time. So every measure goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so it's an even group of 6. You kind of emphasize the 1 and the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So A minor is the first chord, and you put your thumb on the open A string on the A minor, and you place your A minor chord down. We've already learned this chord. If you don't know it, definitely go and learn it. Watch our other videos, or just go and learn the chord. So your thumb will play the open A string, and then your thumb will also play the D string, and then your index finger will play the G, and then your second finger will play the B string, and then you're going to work your way back down with your index on the G, and then your thumb will play the D string, and that's an even 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we can switch to the next chord. All right. So your third finger reaches up to the 3rd fret, and your second finger comes down on the D string on the 2nd fret of right. It's just your C chord, which you should know by now. We've taught it in almost every song that we've done in this sort of series, so you should go back and review if you don't know the C chord yet. But so for the second chord, it's the exact same picking with the right hand. So you're going to play the A string, and then the D string, and then index will play the open G, and then second finger will play the B, and then you work your way back down. Right? So if we put those two together, it sounds like this. Right? And then you switch to a D chord, a D major, which is a little modulation. It changes key for a brief chord here. So rather than start on the A string, I'm going to get you to put your thumb on the D string on your guitar, and you're going to pick through the top 4 strings, starting on the D with your thumb, the G string will be played with your thumb, B string with your first finger, and the second finger will play the G, the open E string. Actually, it's not open E; it's on the 2nd fret. So it'll just sort of, you're just starting on the D string, working up these strings. Here it is. So it's the same pattern, just starting in a different place. And now you switch to your F chord. Now this F chord is different than the F chord that we used in Stand By Me. This is just a partial F. It's just looking at the first 4 strings on the guitar. So start with your 3rd finger on the D string and the 3rd fret on the tip. All right, and then the G string on the 2nd fret on the tip. And then your index finger has to sort of lean and pin the B string and the high E. This chord is a little bit of a nuisance when you're learning how to play the guitar, but it's a really important chord, so please learn it. You can move it up the neck. There's F sharp, where your 3rd finger is in the 4th fret. That's an F sharp chord. And if you move it up another fret, where your 3rd finger is in the 5th fret, which happens to be a G note, that's the G major chord. If you move it up another fret, it's G sharp. Another fret, it's A. And it's very good to take these little mini bar chords and the bigger bar chords and move them up the neck and practice getting a clear sound with the chord, because that's partly why the chords are so useful. They're movable. All right, so because there's no open strings, you can really easily move the chords without sort of muting any other strings or whatnot. So it really helps your guitar playing. Anyways, we'll get back to the song here. So that's the F chord, and you do the same picking pattern as you would do over the D major chord. So it's just 1, 2, right? Thumb, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb. Now you're back to the A minor chord. So you're going to pick from the A string down. You're going to go thumb, index, middle, index, thumb. Now you're going to reach back to the C chord. Thumb, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb. Now you're going to go to the E major chord, right? This is a new chord. So your second finger goes in the second fret on the A string, your third finger goes into the second fret on the D string, and your first finger goes on the first fret on the G string. So in a sense, if you've mastered the A minor chord, all you have to do is move that chord down one string, all right? And this is down because it's lower, it's up in relation to the floor. It's a source of confusion always. So move your A minor chord to these three strings, the A, the D, and the G string, and just leave everything else open. And that's how you play the E major chord, all right? And incidentally, all you have to do is lift your index finger to play E minor, right? So this is your E major, and your thumb's going to play the low E string, and then you skip the A string and play the D string, and then index will play the G, middle will play the B. And then again. Okay? Now the second time through, the song is almost identical except for the last couple of measures. So it goes to the A minor, C chord, D major, F, A minor. Now you switch to the low E. Now you go back to the A minor, go back to the E. And over those chords you can sing the whole song. So I'm going to play the song slowly and clearly.